Welcome to episode 25 of the Spen and Nick Show. And this week we're going back to look at Future Builders Spencer's business and look how things have changed in the last couple of months since we last did an analysis of the value proposition canvas for the business. So Spencer, how's it going and what's happened in the last couple of months?
Well, look, the world has changed in the last couple of months. And everything that we know about life, work, relationships, how we operate, how we live has changed. And for some people, this change has been catastrophic. So some people, this change has given us a space for opportunities. And what I've felt over the last couple of months is that I've been able to reflect and to really think about what it is that I value and what I really want to be able to do in the world. And seeing that there is such a divide with people that have opportunities and people that don't has really made me kind of question what it is that I really need to be doing in the world. And so I'm looking at changing some of the things, some of the aspects of what Future Builders is and what it can do in order to support people, to give them opportunities where they just don't have any opportunities at the moment. So to put some context for this, we know that retail and hospitality industries are going through massive turmoil at the moment. There are huge numbers of people who are furloughed, who are not able to work, and the government support in the UK here at least is only looking like it's going to carry on until June. And so in June, there's going to be a lot of people that are made redundant. And it's an awful situation. And there could be millions and millions of people that are made redundant from the hospitality industry, from the retail industries, and from other industries as well. And these people are often people that don't have, amazing qualifications. They don't have breadth of skills. They don't have these kind of adaptable mindsets that some people do have. And they don't necessarily have those opportunities to reskill. And so I think it's going to be really, really challenging for these people that are going to be made redundant over the next few months, even years potentially, because the knock-on effects of this are going to last for a huge amount of time, to be able to kind of contribute and add value and get jobs and do what they want to do. So I'm looking to change Future Builders to be much more purpose-driven for individual people, to be able to give them opportunities to live a better life, to work, to contribute to society, and to do great things. So it's been amazing to have this pause in some ways, to be able to reflect on that and kind of really, really get laser focus on what I feel I need to do and what contribution I need to give to the world. That's pretty big, right?
That's pretty big, and I think also what I found really helpful was hearing your story about being a teacher and then the transition that you've made to being an entrepreneur. And I think this idea of you wanting to turn back and help those who are in a similar position and wanting to make the transition. Do you want to talk about that very quickly?
Yeah, mate. So I was a teacher for 8 years and I enjoyed teaching, don't get me wrong, but I'd come to this point in time where I wanted to change and really didn't know where to turn, didn't know how to get out of teaching. I didn't have a kind of a network of entrepreneurial people around me. I didn't really know where to turn and how to change. You get stuck in a rut. Even though it was a great job, it's very hard to come out of that and to change. Luckily, really luckily, I met one or two people that were able to support me hugely, not just in giving me like opportunities, but also giving me the confidence to know that I could do this, and so when I left teaching, I moved into a job that kind of immersed myself with entrepreneurs, with entrepreneurial thinkers, people with that mindset to create difference. And from that, what I call the proximity effect, so being close to and watching and observing and getting that support and that network of people around me, I kind of developed all of these skills, I guess, and all of these competencies. But most of this was about soft skills and we call them soft skills, but they're very hard to develop, right? But they weren't necessarily hard skills of like coding and tech stuff. This was about just getting the right mindset and looking at things and looking for opportunities and where to go. So I was really lucky that I fell into these opportunities of having met a few people that could help me with that. And I'm eternally grateful for those. But I think that if we talk about people that are working in the retail sector or in hospitality sector, they don't have great networks of people that they can turn to for support. And so what I want to be able to do is provide that support for them, where that kind of really big gap in their lives really is. That's a huge thing for me.
I think that really helps give people context and shows why you're trying to help those people as well, because it's really looking back at your own story and you're trying to help people in the same way that you got helped to become an entrepreneur too. So I think that's really, really nice. So let's, I think, bring our attention to the value proposition canvas now.
Perfect. Yeah.
Just a quick summary, because I think this can be quite helpful. The reason why we do this is because you don't want to have ideas floating around inside your head, and we don't have conversations that are just talk, 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 and no action and no clarity between the people that are talking, especially when you're talking about strategy. So what we do is we use a canvas or some paper to write down our ideas so they're clear for everybody to see. Everyone's on the same page, literally. And hopefully the ideas can even get extended, because when you take them out of your head, it's much easier to work with them and play with them. You can physically move them around as well, for example. So on this side, we've got three main things. One are the pains. What are the customers' pains? What are the difficulties, obstacles, challenges, problems that they've got? The gains are the outcomes that they want. What are the benefits they want to achieve in terms of getting away from the pain? Then what's the job to be done? What is the activity that they're engaging in to get from the pains, the difficulties, to the gains, the outcomes that they want? Then you've got the value map, which is just talking about what's your product or service and what features of that product or service enable the customer to get the outcomes that they want or overcome the difficulties that they've got. So that's just a quick summary of the value proposition canvas. We've done this already, so I definitely recommend checking out a previous episode, which we'll link to in the comments as well, for a little bit of a better explanation. But for today, I think let's start. So Spencer, we said that the people that you were trying to help were kind of retail assistants, hospitality assistants, but those potentially as aspiring entrepreneurs as well, right?
Yeah, so I think that we're going to go from almost 100% employment in the UK down to probably the lowest levels of employment that we've had for the recent decade or so. And so there's going to be millions of people unemployed. My hypothesis here is that out of those several million people that are unemployed, there will be 1% or 2%, maybe a bit less than that, who have had this dream before of wanting to have their own business or wanted to be a freelancer or wanted to do something that they love. And so if we can tap into that latent desire to do that, then I think we've definitely got a big enough audience to be looking for. I'm looking to niche in as far as I can, so get as small into a target audience as I can. So really focusing on retail and hospitality at the moment. It's kind of areas that I kind of know as well, so that's a good thing.
Brilliant. And so the challenges that they've got is they don't they feel like there are no jobs for the skills that they have. They don't know if they are actually able to start a business, and potentially, well, they don't know any other entrepreneurs either.
Yeah. So let's break those three things down. So the first one is they feel like they don't have the skills for to start a business and that's kind of right and wrong at the same time. There are lots of transferable skills that these people have, but they don't realize they've got them. So I think the first thing is to identify those skills that people really do have and enable them to self-reflect and go, well, actually, if I'm really good at the customer service space with retail, actually, what does that mean? What can I bring and what value can I bring to something else that enables me to still use those customer service skills, but in a different kind of way? If I'm really good at and understanding stock levels, and really good at understanding, inventory, or really good at understanding what good products sell, then maybe I can create a shop online. And what we want to be able to do is help people to do those kinds of things. So what transferable skills have people actually got through this kind of assessment and self-reflection process? So what was number 2 that you had there, Nick?
Number 2 is don't know if you can start a business.
Yeah, exactly. So this really comes down to that mindset and confidence thing, right? I firmly believe that anybody can start a business. A lot of people think that, and we've talked about this before, about the entrepreneurial mindset and about the idea of anyone can be creative and it's a muscle that you can build, right? I don't think that entrepreneurs are born. I think they're made. And I think that anybody can turn into an entrepreneur if you're given the right network of support, the right guidance, the right kind of learning, and the guy, the support about how to get there, the playbook, if you like, of how to get there. I think it's a skill that people can learn. So anybody can do it. Got to build up that confidence.
As long as you, and also as long as you've got a reason to do it that's strong enough,
Mate,
and you've got the hunger to do it. And I think a lot of people do right now.
that's such a good point. That motivation is so important. Building any business, changing your life, transformation of any kind, really hard. You've got to have such a huge amount of motivation, an incentive almost, something goal to look for. And honestly, what better motivation do you need that you've been made redundant? You're reassessing what you're doing with your life, and you've seen an opportunity to do something that you love, right? That's got to be a big driver, and that's a big hypothesis I've got, but it's something I really believe.
So the last one that we've got as a pain is don't know any other entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Or don't know any entrepreneurs.
Exactly that point that I made earlier, right? What do people do when they don't have the network? I think people that we're living in a classist society, and undoubtedly, where people that have opportunities and networks and people that they can talk to about their progress get on better. They're going to be the ones that kind of move on up in the world much quicker. So how can we give that network and that support to people that don't have it right now? It's a big challenge, but it can be done.
Okay, so should we move on as well to the gains that people want? So they certainly want income or potentially extra income, and maybe even they want to own their own business.
Definitely, yeah. I think this is right, income or extra income. So this thing that I want to create, what Future Builders becomes, isn't just about a job, isn't just about being all in, going fully into your main thing being a new business, or maybe even like a brand new startup that's going to reach $1 billion or anything like that. This is about passion projects often, and it may be about side projects. So I think income or extra income, stuff that you can do on the side to supplement your income that you love doing as well. And I think, not everybody wants to own their own business, but I think it's a growing trend. I think it's more in demand. It's definitely over the last 10 years, we've seen the rise of the freelance economy, the gig economy. It's not about, this isn't about, again, growing a massive high scale business. This is about doing something that you love and having the freedom and the flexibility to do it in the way that you want to do it, to own your own work practices, to own what you're doing for the future. I think that's a really empowering and amazing place to get to. I've definitely thrived from that over the last couple of years of having those opportunities to be able to do that myself.
And so related to that one, people then want to find a business idea or find a way to get to that kind of place. And the other thing that they want to do is, well, they need to find something to do, which is maybe the first thing that's on their mind as well.
Yeah, this finding something to do. So this, I think, is a really interesting one because often people don't know, they don't know what they want to do. They don't know what they're good at. They don't know. We've talked about ikigai before, right? This idea of the thing that you love, the thing that you're good at, the thing the world needs, and the thing that can bring you money in. And the intersection of those four things are what you should be focusing on. The problem with this is that often people don't know what they're good at and don't know what they enjoy doing, and they don't know what the world needs. So without experimentation and kind of having almost prototyping your future career, right? Let's take the lean approach. Let's take a design thinking approach to building out our careers, our future opportunities. And that's really what we're looking at here. So giving people that understanding of who they are and where they're going and what they would love to do definitely is a really important thing. And then your second point there again, sorry. What was the last point?
Is finding a business idea, because how can you start a business if you haven't got an idea for it?
And this is I think this is a false trap that people fall into, because they think this business idea that they come up with has to be like a massive scale, it has to be brand new, it has to be kind of all of the innovation and something that nobody else has seen before. But the reality is there are some amazing businesses that are lifestyle, that are not revolutionary, but they're delivering a service that people need. So this point is all about identifying pain points and problems that people have and solving them with a business opportunity. And that's what that point is all about.
Well, let's look then now at your solution, and it's still, as we sit, as with this, it's quite still early stage, and it's more. This is kind of a pivot that you're going through with the business, right? And so with this, your customer profile, we're fairly clear on that at the moment, but still we've got to validate those assumptions and turn those into hypotheses that we can test. But what you're saying is that the product or service is going to be content around how to start a business, and kind of what we're calling at the moment a matchmaking service, really to match people with other people who are maybe at the same point as them on the journey, but also those that are definitely ahead of them on the journey to get support. And also this idea of matching people with content that is relevant to them where they are right now on their journeys.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to think of this as kind of like a playbook, or maybe it's a roadmap, and it's about there are. I believe that there's a framework that is consistent for anything that you would want to do. And what I mean by that is anything, any business, any online venture, any endeavor that you want to do. There's a framework and a consistent approach that you can go through. And this really comes down to identifying problems. It's about quickly figuring out how to come up with a solution for those problems. It's about building that thing and the kind of building the product or building the videos channels or whatever it is, and then marketing, and then so I think there's always a similar process with all of these problems that people have. And so I want to be able to give them the how-to guide to go from zero to to making your first dollar, to making your first pound, and the blueprint for how to do that. So that's what I'm talking about with this content. There'll be a load of supplementary content as well, building on what Future Builders always was about, this idea of the playlists of learning. All of that is additional content that kind of goes around this core of the blueprint. Again, terminology I'm not sure about, the blueprint and the roadmap, the playbook. Everything else kind of comes from that core about how to guide to building the thing that you want to build. And there may well be like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 courses. And I call them courses because they're structured journeys as opposed to it being completely random, that will be delivered by experts. So there'll be people that have done this before, going through the processes that they've gone through in order to help people to go through the same process as well. With that accountability and the matchmaking, this is about matching people with experts through the courses that they're doing, but having those interactions with those experts as well, matching people with that great content depending on where they are, where they want to go, and also matching people with a wider community of support and network as well. There's a final thing as well, which is all about opportunities. Now, this one is a bit more abstract for me. I don't quite know exactly what this is, but there has to be an end point for people. It can't just be about learning for learning's sake. So I want to be able to provide people with opportunities to take this to the next step, to improve their lives so that they are generating income, that they are, going for financial freedom wherever possible. So there's got to be a space to help people with opportunities as well. That could be challenges, projects, could be freelancing gigs, it could be, jobs, whatever.
So what I'm hearing...
Yeah, tell me, because I've just spoke a lot right there. So tell me give me your summary, because this is always a super helpful piece of doing the value proposition design with you.
So let's just focus in on the pains that the customers have got. So the pains that retail assistants have is that there are no jobs for the skills that they have. Well, that's what they feel right now. They don't know if they can start their own business, if it's possible for them to do it. And they don't know any entrepreneurs. So your content about making a business and this matchmaking service between creating connections with others, but also matching them to the content that they need to be able to start doing stuff, is going to enable them to have accountability and support from people that are going to help them along the way, which is going to help them in terms of not knowing if they can do it and not knowing any entrepreneurs. And no jobs for the skills that they have. Well, they're going to learn new skills on the job that they can apply immediately. And so that's learning through doing or learning through building.
Learning through building. I love that. Yeah.
And also, I think the next part that's missing as well is these mindset modules, which are going to help people in terms of realise that they have or increase their confidence in their ability to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I'm sure, unsure slightly exactly how that is going to take shape. The way that I really want to see this happen is that these are fully integrated into existing modules. So the way that I see these courses is they're very modularized, but actually rather than kind of going, right, I'm going to go and do the how to be an entrepreneurial, how to get an entrepreneurial mindset course, this entrepreneurial mindset is woven in to these courses so that people are developing that continuously. I think it may be the way that I see this product being is that there's some kind of subscription service that people can sign up for, or they can just buy a single course. But this subscription service enables people to get in like all of the courses, access to all of the courses, access to the whole community, access to all of the experts, access to all of the opportunities on an ongoing period of time, for as long as they need. And it may well be that the community grows and the next level of iterations through their business we can support them with it as well. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's all about weaving in this whole thing about mindset into those harder skills of creating businesses and products.
And it's nice to hear what you're saying there is also starting to talk about the business model as well. But let's save that for another episode, and go back to the gain creators, which are the features of the product that enable the customer to get the outcomes that they want, the gains that they want. So you've talked about it quite a bit, which is the step-by-step guide, which could be a blueprint, could be a playbook, could be a roadmap, but also that's going to help people start doing what they need to do to generate the income and start their own business. But also, I think they're going to be case studies as well, which I think is actually I think the case studies might actually be more relevant down here because that shows people what's possible, really, isn't it?
Yeah, very possible, yeah. Just on a quick one on the guide, on the blueprint, what we're doing here right now, this tool of the value proposition design is one of those elements that sits on the blueprint, right? So this is a key aspect of anyone's journey, I think, towards building a business, building a product, or building something new. Even if it's not a business, I think this is still super valuable, right? Because it's thinking about an audience, you're thinking about the problems you're trying to solve. So this would be one key aspect on that blueprint, regardless of what you're doing. And it's almost like what I want to be able to do is model, and this is the reason that we're doing these calls and this YouTube channel is model this over time by showing how we're building future builders, right? And so I think it's that kind of very meta thing of showing this as a case study for how to do these things.
Definitely, and we're going to be showing a lot of failure, but we'll get there in the end.
Absolutely.
So not everything that we've come up with is perfect, but we're okay with that because we're seeing what works, what doesn't work, and trying again and starting again and starting again. But we'll make it. We'll make it in the end. Because if you don't make it, it's not the end. You can't make it. So can I do a quick summary? Is that okay?
I think that's a great idea. I'd love to hear it.
So Future Builders is trying to help hospitality and retail assistants who are at risk of losing their job or being furloughed, or perhaps even already lost their job or have already been furloughed. And perhaps those people are already aspiring entrepreneurs, but they might not even know it yet. And what the challenges that they're facing, the pains that they have, is that they feel that there are no jobs with the skills that they've currently got. They don't know if it's possible for them to start their own business, and they might not even have thought about it yet. They don't know any entrepreneurs. Yeah, the outcomes they want some income or some extra income, and to the next level they want financial freedom, but they might not be calling it that. And they want to own their own business, and they want to be in charge of their own time. Now, it might not be owning their own business, but they want some freedom in terms of the job that they're doing, and maybe even more enjoyment from the job that they're doing. Now, what they're trying to do to get from their pains to their gains to their jobs to be done they need to find something to do right now in the short term. And number two, if they are thinking about starting a business, they're thinking about, well, what ideas have I got that I could use to start a business with? Now, the product or service that Future Builders is going to offer is content about starting a business and a matchmaking service between people and other people to support them, but also to match them with content that's going to help them at just the right time when they need it. And so the features of that product are that it's going to provide accountability and support So this is going to be great in terms of people who don't know if it's possible for them to start a business, and also don't know any entrepreneurs. And also this mindset modules are really going to help them have the confidence in their ability to start their own business. And then you've got this idea of learning through doing, which is going to help those that feel that there are no jobs for the skills that they have. So they're going to learn what they need to learn right then at the moment and apply it, which means they're going to create their own opportunities and see that they do have skills that are relevant for either new jobs or for starting their own business. And we said as well, case studies are going to be helpful because that's going to show them what other people have done, which gives them a path to the future of a new way of doing things because they can see other people like them have done it, so they can do it too. Why not? And then the other feature is that it's going to be a step-by-step guide or a blueprint or a playbook or a roadmap that tells people exactly how they can increase their income or start their own business and maybe or a side hustle and maybe increase their income or perhaps get some extra income. So that's kind of like a summary of what it looks like, and what we could do as a next step as well, as you could say, well, Future Builders helps retail assistants and hospitality assistants that have potentially been impacted by COVID-19, but are potentially aspiring entrepreneurs. And the challenges, and it helps them, and that who want to find something to do or find a business idea, and it helps them by increasing their confidence around their ability to be able to start their own business, and also helps them start a side hustle, which helps them increase their income as well, and it potentially even helps them create their own business or certainly own their future much more. And unlike going alone, they feel like they've got accountability and support to help them achieve this much faster than they would if they've just done it by themselves. How does that sound for a little bit of a pitch for Future Builders? Well, New Direction.
I really, really like it. I think what we've been able to do there is take in an incredibly short amount of time, take something which has been working its way in my head for a long period of time, and be able to come out with a pretty short, pretty direct statement, which is all about the value proposition that I can now start to build out to test whether this thing does resonate with people, whether there really is a market opportunity here, whether people really want this, and you know, and go for it if those indications are really, really, really there. This is all about now. The next step is all about testing this idea, validating it, doing as many different experiments as I can to see whether this market exists, whether this opportunity really does exist, and then it's into the build phase, right? And then we see where we can go. So I think that's been a really, really useful thing for me. It makes total sense. It works, but of course it's going to. I need to now make sure that it works for other people. So let me know. Let us know whether this is something that you feel is of interest and you think that people are going to need, or maybe you need this yourself. I really want to hear from people. So get in touch, comment on the YouTube videos, you know, get onto Instagram or add me on LinkedIn, you know, and let us know. Let us know what you think.
Brilliant. And why not help us out and subscribe to this YouTube channel while you're here? Or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, why not follow this podcast too? That would we'd really appreciate that. But until next time, I suppose, right?
Absolutely.